sparkling water.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm Simon. Hello. Needless to say, we've got yellow at the end of the Chardonnay and red at the end of the Pinots.
Good idea.
So these are Pinots, and in fact, Pinot, they've got the purple cow's ear tags, but the red roses aren't out yet. One thing I think is always rather interesting is, especially at this time of year, if you look down this row here, go away. If you look down this row here, you've got Pinot Noir on the left, Pinot Meunier on the right. Pinot Meunier, look at the difference in the colour of the leaves and the white fleck on the Pinot Meunier, the white fleck on the new leaves. Right, so let's wander down the vine. So we're going to do a sort of a circuit. So, yep, there we go. The inflorescence is starting. They flower Wimbledon fortnight. So it's basically the beginning of July. So in a month's time they flower. And when they flower, you just get a tiny little white flower comes out of each little grapelet. To have a good harvest, we need a good flowering. So if Wimbledon fortnight is good, we think we could be on for a good crop. So Wimbledon fortnight, very important.
Of course it is. You're not planting vines, you're watching tennis.
So many ones.
I hope one day your wine will
But
be
this is,
served.
and this is looking so different to how it was this time last year. This time last year we'd had that really bad frost in the middle of, on about the 4th of May. And at least half of the shoots had been killed. So they died back, and then a second shoot had appeared from each node on the fruiting cane. But this time last year, it was not. They weren't nearly as high as this, or didn't look nearly as healthy as this. So
How long ago were these vines planted, Simon?
these would have been planted. Well, that end of this field was planted in 2004. This end was 2005.
Okay, so this was your second year's planting, so you started over there. You
Yeah,
just planted
this was the
Chardonnay to
second
start,
year.
and then you went to Pinot Meunier, or?
Well, I always did a mixture, which is why I've only got, as you can see from the leaves, I've only got 3 rows of Pinot Meunier here.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, it was I had to have all 3 grape varieties. So a few rows of this and a few rows of that. Now, with the new field we're planting is just Pinot Noir.
Right, okay.
Because it's much easier to have them all in a block.
And can I ask you, why do you find that it seems to be that Chardonnay is the grape variety that England's known for, and growing in good conditions?
Well, known
Why
for
Pinot Noir, though?
only since in the last 20 years.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But why do you think now there seems to be more Pinot Noir vines being planted?
Oh, I think it was always Pinot Noir and Chardonnay and Pinot Meunier, because I think it was, well, as from about 2004, I think people were concentrating on the Champagne grape varieties. So you had to have that mix.
Well, yes, I think that actually started in the 80s and 90s, and that was 90s, but it started out.
Yes,
the
I
first
mean
wine
there
we
were a
tried.
few doing it then, but I think the sort of the big movement that there is now to plant English
It's all
sparkling.
3, yeah. But what I'm saying is, in the last couple of years, there's been a bit of a tip, and more English winemakers are planting Pinot Noir than they are Chardonnay. So
Yes.
I'm wondering why that might be. And if you don't know, that's fine. I'm just asking the question.
I don't think I know.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
That's probably the answer.
Yes, we'll have
I
to-
mean, I'm not even sure I was aware of that, because
Yeah.
I thought that everyone was trying to do it as I have done it, to keep a ratio of, say, 60% Chardonnay, 25% Pinot Noir,
Well, it's
50%
stats that
Pinot
come out of
Meunier.
WineGB that I'm referring to. So
Yeah,
it was a
but
little
you're
report.
more
Simon
clued up
Robinson,
than I am.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Sorry, no. Carry on. Sorry.
Okay.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
Now here, where it's flattening out a bit, we're sort of starting to get into into the clay. At the moment here we're on green sand, a lot on this slope. As soon as we get into the clay, it's not so good for vines. So that's what it's got here. Well, we planted in 2004, and basically, I was telling you we got bits of string, and we didn't really quite know whether we should put the mypex down first, as we have done over there, or we put the vines in first and then put the mypex over the top and then cut the holes. What we actually did is we planted the vines first, then we put this black mypex down. And it was a very, very hot day at the very end of May, and there were three of us doing it. We put the mypex covering the vines, and then at the end of the day we went along with the standing knife and just cut the little hole there for the vine to pop through. Now what happened is, a month later, about 20% of the vines weren't growing. So I rang up the guys who I bought the vines from, and I said, look, you sold me a whole load of duff vines, I want replacements. We'll send our expert, and that's actually where I met this fellow Hans Schleifer, whose name I mentioned. We'll send our expert along and have a look. So the expert came along, and I told him exactly what we'd done. I said, you know, in this very hot day, having planted the vines, we put the mypex down, and we cut the holes at the end of the day. He said, well, Simon, you're an idiot, because what you've done is you've cooked them, because of a hot day, the sun out, black, absorbing heat, and the vines, as you will see, or may have already seen, always have a bit of wax on the top.
Yeah.
Basically, 20% of the vines have been killed by the heat under the mypex. So, okay, my fault, but can I still buy some more vines to replace the 20% that were dead? That evening I went into the house and I said to my wife, Rebecca, I said, and she said, how'd you get on today, Simon? I said, oh, well, you know those vines that died? I'm afraid it was my fault, because basically we should have really put the mypex down first, as you will see that we are now doing. But we put the vines in first, then put the mypex over the top. We didn't cut the holes deep enough. And she said, well, of course, no. How stupid of you, Simon. Of course you should have gone and put the mypex down first. So, oh really? How do you know? Well, I've just been listening to the Archers. Nigel Parson has just planted a vineyard, and he just put the mypex down first. So. Always listen to the Archers.
Or your wife.
Or your wife. No, it was quite interesting. That vineyard, the vineyard we just come out of with the wooden posts, when we planted the first half of it, there were three of us, and we got bits of string, and we measured out the distance the vines were going to be apart and where we had to drill all the holes to plant the vines. And we planted 2,000 vines, and it took basically three of us about 3 weeks. When we planted this one, I already had someone by then advising me exactly what to do, a fellow called Hans Schleifer, who is German. Hans has a friend in Germany who has a vine planting machine. This vineyard is 7,000 vines, that one was 2,000 vines, took three guys 3 weeks. 7,000 vines took three guys 5 hours. Wow. Wow. And because they were all Germans, it is planted with German efficiency, exactly in every direction. You can see a line because they're all exactly the right distance apart. Yeah. And it was all planted with a laser guided something or other that told the machine where to plant each vine.
It is better. I thought it would be pouring.
I thought, yeah, it would be pouring and stormy.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so this is our building site. It's not the most picturesque.
So what's this going to become, Camilla?
A wine store for 250,000 bottles. So at the moment we get our wine stored down at Whiston, where our wine is made, the winery. And just the idea of actually having it physically here is nice, because, you know, Dad and I can go and count our bottles and just check it's all okay. So, yeah. So we age our wines for 4 years, so they have a significant time where we just leave them, and we just thought it was safer and it's nicer to have them here. So yeah, so we will have an entrance. We're knocking through. You can see the markings on the wall. The entrance will come in through our grounds into there. There'll be no access from the outside, so it's sort of fully secure. Thank
It
you.
seemed sensible to go and.
Well, I think it was my fault. Yeah, it was my fault because I said we put the rubbish out there and spade it in and then
I think it looks really pretty for the camera, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Kit?
A cellar or is it really a restaurant and a cellar?
No, just a wine store.
It's a wine store, okay.
Yeah, so where we can
That's a
age.
good idea. You
Yeah.
tell your mother that.
You can break that one to her. Yeah, I mean,
ladies, gentlemen, please don't go near the orange tape because the holes are 12 foot deep and I don't want you falling in them, please.
but yeah, I mean, you know, similarly, it's all part of our home and garden, which is why everything. It's why we haven't built a winery. You know, it's aesthetically it's still a family home. You know.
Let's keep it on.
It's a funny old day, isn't it?
It is a little bit, isn't it? You're not quite sure which way it will swing.
Yeah.
We're talking about this in the train. So is it important? It's important to plant after the last frost. Is this why you plant this time of year? So I thought it seemed like Miss Woodton thing would be planted either early spring or you know in the autumn when you guarantee more rain.
The answer is I haven't a clue.
Right. Okay.
Everyone always plants in May.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit, you know, we're now 31st of May, I think,
Yes.
so we're a bit late.
Okay. I just wondered what's the reason for that. When you're considering why you plant at this time of year, when if you're sort of planting woodland, do you do it
In the autumn.
in the autumn?
Yeah.
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 Do you know?
So they get going.
So they get going, and it's later because of the last frost is over.
Yeah, the last
Right.
frost
Yeah.
is over, and also that it's taken us this long to get everything prepared because
Right.
the ground has been so wet. I don't know what it's been like where you are, but this ground,
no,
this ground was
yeah.
squelching.
Yeah, and we're on heavy clay, so it's even worse.
Yeah, well, I would say this. I put our spading machine over this field, and I would say this. It's the first time anything's mechanical, if that's the right word,
Yeah.
has been done to it, and I would say the better part of 60 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
So what's this is all
It wasn't.
pasture before.
It was pasture up until this year, but
Yeah.
prior to that, it was a hot field.
Right. So
Because
yeah.
we found the wires and the
Yeah,
anchors.
Okay.
Last year, what we do, our most job is in the vineyard.
Look at that. One more project.
It's my routine.
So this is 2010, so this is certainly had 5 years on the line.
But has that just been released or is that?
No, it's been released
It's been released
3 years ago.
Okay.
But we would never disgorge it all, we just
No,
disgorge
no,
it as
no,
we
no.
go along.
Yeah.
So even though it was first released 3 years ago at least, you know, that one is now 5 years on the lead, at least.
Very nice.